Something has been hunting in the forests of Eastern Europe for decades, and officially, it does not exist. Not a wolf, not a bear, not a lynx. A predator large enough to leave 18-centimeter tracks in fresh snow, fast enough to outrun thermal cameras, silent enough to stand within meters of armed hunters without being heard. For years, the reports were dismissed. Misidentifications, exaggerations, rural folklore, until the patterns started repeating. The same body length, the same amber eyes, the same low vibration in the ground before it appears, and the same question every winter. What if one Ice Age predator never went extinct? In the winter of 1996, hunters in the Carpathian forest belt began refusing to enter certain valleys after dusk. They did not speak of ghosts, they did not speak of superstition. They spoke of something that moved without sound, something heavy enough to shake frost from branches, yet silent enough to stand 10 meters behind a man without being heard. The first documented report came from a forestry patrol near the Slovak-Ukrainian border in late November. Snow had fallen overnight, laying a clean white surface across logging paths. By morning, a line of tracks crossed the trail. They were too large for wolves and too narrow for bears. Each print measured nearly 18 centimeters across, with 4 deep toe impressions and extended claw marks that cut cleanly into the ice crust.
Now I'll show you the video where this creature was spotted, and we'll get back to the discussion.
The stride length suggested an animal moving at a controlled pace, not running, not stalking, simply passing through. The region had predators. Wolves were common, lynx still roamed the deeper sections, brown bears occasionally descended from higher elevations, but none of them matched what followed. Over the next 8 years, reports accumulated quietly. Livestock were found dead in fenced enclosures without signs of forced entry. Deer carcasses appeared partially consumed, the rib cage opened with deliberate force, organs removed with surgical precision rather than torn apart. Hunters described hearing a low vibration before sightings, not a roar, not a growl, but a resonant tremor that seemed to come through the ground itself. Witness descriptions were consistent in ways that are difficult to ignore. Length estimated between 2.3 and 2.6 meters from snout to tail. Shoulder height approaching that of a large wolfhound, but with a body longer and lower to the ground. The forelimbs were described as disproportionately powerful, shoulders rolling beneath dark fur. The tail was thick and rigid, used for balance during sudden turns. The head was feline in shape, but more elongated. Eye shine reported as amber or dull gold. No visible mane, no exaggerated saber teeth, just a broad jaw and a stillness that unsettled those who saw it. In 2001, a hunting party of 3 men reported the closest encounter. They had been tracking red deer along a frozen river corridor at dusk when their lead dog stopped abruptly, refusing to move forward. The forest had gone silent, no birds, no wind. One of the men later described feeling pressure in his chest, as if standing near heavy machinery. That was when they saw it. Across the riverbank, partially obscured by spruce trunks, stood a dark form. It did not crouch or charge, it simply observed. Its body was lower than a bear's, longer than a wolf's. When it shifted its weight, frost fell from its back. They estimated it remained still for nearly 20 seconds before stepping backward into the tree line. No crashing retreat, no sound of brush snapping. It receded as if absorbed by the forest itself. They did not pursue. In 2003, a thermal imaging camera installed to monitor illegal logging activity captured a brief recording at 02:17 a.m. The footage showed a quadruped moving across a clearing at high speed. Frame analysis later estimated bursts exceeding 70 kilometers per hour over short distance. The heat signature was compact and dense, with unusually large forequarters relative to hind limbs. Within seconds, it vanished beyond the tree line. Officially, the footage was attributed to a bear at an unusual angle. The explanation did not satisfy the forestry staff who had worked those woods for decades. Biologically, the most compelling comparisons point towards the Machaerodentine, the subfamily of saber-toothed cats believed extinct approximately 10,000 years ago. These predators possessed heavily muscled forelimbs, elongated torsos, and powerful jaws. However, no known Machaerodon species matches the precise proportions described in the Carpathian sightings. The reported tail length is longer than typical reconstructions. No witnesses reported prominent saber canines, just a broad jaw and a stillness that unsettled those who saw it. An alternative hypothesis suggests a relict population of a late surviving Pleistocene predator, isolated in dense mountainous forest corridors where human encroachment remained minimal throughout the 20th century. The Carpathian region contains extensive cave systems, abandoned military tunnels, and valleys with extremely low population density. Large prey populations, deer carcasses, wild boar, and feral livestock remain sufficient to sustain a small apex predator population, provided it remains secretive and primarily nocturnal. Skeptics argue that breeding populations require genetic diversity and that no such large predator could remain undetected in modern Europe. Yet history has demonstrated otherwise. The Vietnamese saola was known to science until 1992. The coelacanth was believed extinct 66 million years ago before being rediscovered alive in 1938. Survival beyond assumed extinction is rare, but not impossible. The most disturbing incident occurred in February 2004. A remote shepherd's hut in western Ukraine reported livestock agitation throughout the night. The shepherd stepped outside shortly after midnight when the animals began crashing against their pen. Snowfall reduced visibility, but he described seeing a dark shape circling beyond the lantern light. The ground trembled faintly, that same low vibration reported by others. He fired a warning shot into the air. The shape did not retreat immediately. Instead, it paused at the edge of light. He described eyes reflecting amber, set wider than a wolf's. The body appeared tense but controlled, as if calculating distance. After several seconds, it turned and moved uphill into forest cover. The following morning, tracks surrounded the enclosure. None crossed the fence line. The animal had not needed to enter. It had been testing. Hair samples collected from splintered fence posts were analyzed by a regional laboratory. The mitochondrial DNA was degraded but indicated feline markers inconsistent with Eurasian lynx. Contamination was cited. The samples were not retained. After 2004, sightings declined sharply. Logging increased in several valleys, road networks expanded. Whether the animal retreated deeper into forest systems or whether the population was too small to sustain itself remains unknown. Could such a predator exist into the present day? From a purely ecological perspective, it is improbable but not impossible. A breeding population would require territory spanning hundreds of square kilometers. It would require avoidance of roads, settlements, and camera traps. It would require nocturnal hunting patterns and perhaps cave-based sheltering behavior. The Carpathians, while fragmented, still contain some of the last true wilderness corridors in Europe. From an evolutionary standpoint, survival of a late Pleistocene lineage would demand either extreme adaptability or a misclassification in the fossil record. It is possible that what is being observed is not a surviving saber-tooth, but a previously undocumented branch of large felid that evolved in isolation and avoided human detection through behavioral caution rather than numbers. There are no confirmed bodies, no clear photographs, no publicly acknowledged specimens, only consistent descriptions, physical traces that do not align cleanly with known predators, and a pattern of events concentrated in one of Europe's oldest forest systems. The forests of Eastern Europe have absorbed wars, empires, and centuries of human expansion. Entire villages have vanished within them. Species have disappeared quietly before anyone noticed. If a predator adapted to silence, speed, and isolation were to survive anywhere, it would be here. And in winter, when fresh snow covers the ground and the valleys fall silent, tracks still appear from time to time, emerging from one tree line and ending at another, as if whatever made them never needed to leave the forest at all. For now, there is no body, no confirmed specimen, no official recognition, only tracks that appear after heavy snow and vanish by morning, only damaged carcasses that do not match the bite patterns of known predators, only witnesses who describe the same silhouette moving between the trees, low and controlled, as if it has perfected the art of remaining unseen. If it is a surviving Ice Age lineage, then it represents one of the greatest zoological discoveries in modern Europe. If it is a misidentified known species,
then it displays behavior science has yet to explain. And if it is something entirely undocumented, then it has already adapted to us, to our roads, our cameras, our weapons. The Carpathian forests are older than the borders drawn across them, older than the nations that surround them. They have concealed armies, fugitives, entire forgotten settlements. Concealing a predator would be simple by comparison. Perhaps extinction is not always an event. Perhaps sometimes it is an assumption. And somewhere between the tree line and the snow-covered ridges, something still moves, unclassified, unrecorded, and perfectly aware that we are looking for it.